how do you paint the Beatitudes? You know, I know the Beatitudes. They're beautiful, but they're conceptual. You know, you don't paint concepts, you paint, things. He says, well, pray about it. He probably did. And I probably did. I don't remember. But I started thinking about it. Praying and thinking, and they kind of go together. So, I said, okay. But how do you do it? How do you paint, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven? Jesus is more than any other speaker in history, the one that can say the most in the fewest words. Very succinct, and yet bottomless in their meditation qualities in their meaning. And I think that the Beatitudes are the highest example of that. I want to say a little bit about each of the Beatitudes. I'm going to start with blessed are the poor. That's one that we don't get. They're also counterintuitive. They seem like they're opposite of what we would think. We would think the strong in spirit is what God would credit. Well, in a sense, that's so, but only when it's his own spirit that he recognizes within us. If we are trying to make it on the strength of our own spirit, God is not impressed. It's like that is the proud spirit that God will not acknowledge, but he will always elevate the humble. I was done with and I still had one painting to do, because Kent said, why don't you paint Jesus too? So I did. And I worked at it. Like I said, it's always a little intimidating, painting Jesus. First, you know what he looks like. And he had to be kind of like the others in style, and abstract, because after all, he made himself like us. Didn't he take on the human form? It was a little messier than the others. In fact, I did him a second time. And even the second time, I thought, he looks more beat up. But I think it's the best I can do. And then I thought, well, actually, he was beat up. He was beat up more than all of us. It's funny, I'd say, by this time I was working in the garage so I could see it all at once. And I'd say to Ann, well, I'm going to go out and work on Jesus. It just didn't seem right. I thought, Jesus is the one that works on me.
We were looking at this incredible display of the Beatitudes, and I said, as a fine arts person and someone who got my degree in fine arts, I'm kind of speechless, but I guess I would say that we don't have to look too far back in history anymore. We're not looking for Picasso or Monet or any of the famous artists from the past, because they live amongst us. And we look at this and we think it's humbling to be reminded of who we're supposed to be. It's so anti-American to be a meek person, to be someone who's humble. And yet that's what Christ has called us to do. And I just can't underscore enough how grateful we are at Muldoon Community Assembly to have someone give Jesus their yes. And to be asked, can you dig in yourself and your artistic self and find something that could portray what Jesus was trying to communicate? And he did it.